We are so excited about this morning because we believe that what we're teaching this morning is going to be such an enormous help to so many people. Um, so I'm going to introduce Mary Akehurst, who's our speaker this morning. Then I'm going to talk a little bit about the science. Then we will turn off the recording and have questions and answers for you. Mary and her husband have a ministry called All Things to All, and a part of that ministry is recovery ministry. I met her because another a man who's involved in recovery ministry, um, David Johnson, was looking for someone to help him with managing, uh, trying to get some of our products to the people he works with, and we needed an administrator. So he asked Mary to do it, and she was an answer to prayer. She's great administrative skills, great ministry skills, and just an amazing person, and a very fast learner. She's had to take on a science assignment now and learn all sorts of things about science. Mary was the administrator of a study we did in Minnesota last year, wasn't it, Mary? Where we had 24 people to participate in a 6-month study. And the main thing we were trying to see was whether or not NRF2 activation with our product would reduce cravings. We are body, soul, and spirit. And Mary may speak into this a little bit more. So in recovery ministry, so many times they're working with the spirit and the soul, the mind, the will, and the emotions. What I discovered in my own pursuit of how addiction works in the body, because of my family having so many addiction problems, is that so much of it is rooted in the body. And if those things are malfunctioning, a child is a sitting duck for addiction. I'm going to tell you briefly about the science of how oxidative stress affects addiction. When they were doing the first human study on Protandim NRF2 activation, they had people in the study who were contacting them saying that they no longer were smoking, for example, and some other things as well. Could those yellow pills have anything to do with this? When they contacted the lab at the University of Colorado, Dr. McCord's lab, their response was, we were not expecting this. What were they expecting? They were expecting responses from the over 300 physical and mental and emotional diseases to respond to lowering oxidative stress, positive responses to less oxidative stress. But we really didn't know that addiction had anything to do with oxidative stress. So to see the connection, some of you've heard me talk about this before. They addicted mice to cocaine and nicotine. How did they do that? They put it in their rat chow. After they were fully addicted, they examined their brains to find out where was it in the body. You've heard me say before that when the body takes something in that it cannot use, nor can it excrete it, it stores it. So they found residue storage in the glutamate receptors in the brains of the mice. Now, it's not going to just include cocaine and nicotine. If this study was on every drug in the world, alcohol, prescription and non-prescription, that's where it's going to go. So it was storing in the glutamate receptors, causing them to malfunction and not be able to make adequate glutamate. So then they fed the mice Protandim NRF2 in their rat chow. The mice weaned themselves off of cocaine and nicotine. And I often, when I'm teaching this, I will say without any counseling, because it is important to know that so much of addiction is rooted in the body. When they examined the brains of the mice after the Protandim, they found that because Protandim increases the production of glutathione in a mouse and in a human, in a horse, it doesn't matter, a mammal, it increases the production of the body's own glutathione. The glutathione then had been able to clean out the glutamate receptors. You've heard me teach this before, how that its job is to get rid of cellular debris. It would pull it out, hand it off to the catalase, get it out of the body. When the glutamate receptors had been cleaned out, in essence, making this a simple application here, of the stored drug residues, the glutamate receptors were able to make glutamate again. The increase or the regulation of glutamate help to balance out the GABA. These are two neurotransmitters that have to be balanced. If they're imbalanced, you will be chemically imbalanced. You'll have bipolar, you'll have manic depression, and all sorts of other things. This is not a lesson on that this morning. And so what happens is it begins to balance the glutamate and the GABA. And the important thing for addiction is it works on the satiation part of the brain. Your addiction for ice cream is located in the satiation part of your brain. Your addiction for sugar, your addiction for whatever is right here. And so when that was satiated, and what satisfies it? What satisfies it is an adequate supply of glutamate. So when that was balanced, the mice quit craving. And so I've been working with this now for almost 14 years. I consistently saw this. And so therefore, I wanted to have a real study, and Mary has been the administrator. John, we're going to ask you to turn off your video. We have everybody off this morning because we expect this video to be used a lot since it's on addiction. Okay, Miss Mary, are you ready to jump in here?
Welcome. Well, good morning, everybody. It's just an honor to be here. I'm going to try not to cry. There is hope for the holidays. The holidays is one of the most challenging seasons, you may or may not know, but I would imagine most of you who are on this session will watch or watching the replay care about someone who is struggling with addiction. Or maybe you are struggling with addiction, you want help. So I want to say there's hope for the holiday because of what Jackie has just shared, the science. And I want to get into a few of my own studies that I'm going to pull up here. Holiday highs and lows. Do everybody see this page? Okay, holiday highs and lows. This is just a sobering time, if I can use that word, around the holidays, when a lot of people really struggle with addiction. In some cases, it can be the most dangerous time of the year. 91,000 deaths have been reported for the month of December since 1999. December, January, and March are just those months that people, slump into depression and often go back to their alcohol or drug of choice because of, relationships that they've been struggling with, etc. It's just a real hard time for a lot of people. And way at the bottom of this here, I wanted to bring up some stats that I found really interesting. So bear with me. Well, I wrote it down. The Cleveland Clinic that's a well-resourced education clinic, and they've identified that 38% of people have a drug addiction, 73% have alcohol, and 12% have drug and alcohol addictions with the substance abuse around this holiday time. And that's a percentage of the 20 million people that are already dealing with some sort of substance abuse. We all know somebody that struggles. The way I entered this community, you all, is that my uncle was an addict, and he died at a very young age. And it really troubled me to wonder, why couldn't he get over it? Why couldn't he get over it? And that's what put me on this my own journey, much like Jackie, trying to figure out why, you know, why does someone continue to relapse? Even if they go to a wonderful program, meet the Lord, go through deliverance, there's still people that still have that chronic relapse. And so that's what excited me when I met Dave Johnson and heard about the science and met Jackie and have been following in this whole journey with you guys on the protandem and the benefit of adding that to our life. So I wanted to bring up, I'm just going to switch over to the study at this point. So as Jackie said, my husband and I work with a lot of people in recovery. We've been connected to Dave Johnson, the Lost Sheep Ministries, for a while. And Dave and I, found people that would be interested to participate in this study for 6 months. As Jackie mentioned, we had 24 people that took this activator for 6 months. And so we noticed that some of them were addicted to, sugar, some basic things that we don't always talk about, but others were addicted to cigarettes, to alcohol, to different types of drugs, to pharmakeia, to their meds. And over the course of time, we saw great improvements and reduce of cravings. Okay, so let's see. So some of the comments that I just noted, I spent time with them daily and weekly and monthly, just documenting what their experiences were. All right. So after 10 days, one individual said, my cravings are actually gone. So quite quickly, one person discovered that. Another person said, in the first 3 weeks, my body aches and brain fog was gone. After 30 days, I have noticed my cravings for fentanyl aren't as bad as they used to be. After 6 weeks, my sensation is coming back in my tongue. I've noticed I'm not craving energy drinks. I'm eating more vegetables and I'm more alert after a month and a half. I didn't use after a breakup this time. A lot of people, they fall into using when things don't go well for them, including relationships. That person was successful through that hard time. After 6 weeks, I used to smoke 4 packs of cigarettes a week. Now I'm down to a pack and a half only at work. Snack less at 2 months. An increase in energy, more alert at 2 months. Experiencing less brain fog at 2.5 months. Drinking less coffee. That can also be an addiction. Haven't stopped at fast food in 3 months. No body aches at 3 months. Feeling good. Notice a few days when I forgot it, I was feeling sluggish and wanted to sleep. Wasn't active at all before. Now I have lots of energy. Back to the gym, working out at 3 months. I'm experiencing less issues with Crohn's and insomnia at 4 months. The brain fog is gone, no longer overwhelmed, more energy, better routine. Haven't had a soda pop since started the study. Eating habits are better after 6 months. I've survived drug uses and urges through grief of a relationship, 6 months into it. I haven't had vertigo. So other benefits beyond the addiction are happening during this time. I've survived urges going through a hard time. My internal core balance is better. I laugh easier and I feel better overall after 6 months. Here's a really great one. Depression, OCD, anxiety symptoms are resolved. I'm active again in the community. I have thoughts, but not cravings. That's certainly worth talking about. My blood pressure went down. Symptoms of depression, anxiety, OCD, insomnia, ADHD, migraines have been all improved after 6 months. Okay, so then some of the people wanted to continue with taking the product because they saw the benefits after. And one of the ladies in the study, she said, this was even during the study, she started coming off her prescription meds. This was in cooperation with her doctor. Several months later, she realized drinking alcohol made her sick. So she just quit alcohol, and it wasn't that great. She had been addicted to alcohol for, I want to say, 19 years, for quite some time. While the study ended, I initially stopped thinking I didn't have the money, but during that time not taking it, I had losses in my life. I realized that while I was taking this activator, I was better overall. I also realized the money I was spending on alcohol would be better spent taking care of my health, so I can be here for my family. I spoke to my team leaders about starting again. Within days, I was feeling better. Listen to this. Inflammation went back down. And within 30 days, my doctor and I talked about getting off the ADHD meds. I don't crave alcohol for at all for anxiety relief because my stress level is down. I was a drinker for 20 years. I was a cutter diagnosed with PTSD, severe depression and anxiety, insomnia, bulimia, and anorexia. I've healed tremendously over this past year. All glory goes to God. Since starting this little yellow pill, I've stopped propanol, Ritalin, Imitrex, and lowered the dose of Temazan. I'm completely a different person. I'm still in awe. And then this next quote is a similar story where another lady gets off her meds. And in fact, I was just talking to a team participant who is now not only a customer but a consultant. She is now off of her meds, and so this works. This activation works, and it's really is. It brings hope where people were hopeless. And so I'm just thrilled to be part of that. In fact, part of our ministry, I find myself helping women all the time who are coming, who want to be free from their addiction. And this is part of my conversation I have with them. And it really is bringing hope.